If we want to do visualizing work or imagining work or work with the images that come up in our dreams, we need to make a profound change in our mindset. We need to have the ability, the techniques to quickly go from where we typically are of being alert and focused on achievement to a more fluid place where imagining and visualization and dream work are possible. In an earlier video, I explained why we need to know how to relax. And it's not just the general relax for rest, but a relaxation of our typical mindset into one that's sort of betwixt and between, in that twilight space between waking and dreaming or sleeping. That's where we need to be to do this sort of work. Today I'm going to show you one of the tools that I use and teach to others that helps you make that shift when you want to make that shift. It's very quick. It's about a 2-minute process, which means you can also spend a minute or two off and on practicing it until you get it down. But it is tremendously simple. You're going to learn exactly how to do it today, right here. Before we go to the actual steps of this technique, I want to talk a little bit about, introduce you to how it works. There are several ways we can relax. One is to change our breathing. Another one is to change the muscle tone. Another one is to change what we're thinking about or the speed of our thoughts. The method we're going to use here is changing our brainwave pattern. In the 20th century, it was discovered that our brains produce a variety of brain waves throughout the day, throughout the night. Some are associated with quick thinking and being vigilant and ready for action. Others operate at a much slower pace, at a different pace. There are some that are best for deep sleep. There's some for dreaming sleep. What we're going to be looking at is one that is associated with calm alertness. So it's neither racing around or being ready to jump into something, nor is it something like being totally asleep. It's something for calm alertness. That particular brain wave is the alpha brain wave. And just like there are a variety of techniques to get us into overall relaxation, there's a couple of different approaches for having our brain produce a lot of the alpha brain wave, which is the calm alertness state. We get our first burst of alpha production simply by closing our eyes. But we all know this is probably not going to be enough because we can close our eyes and our mind can still be churning away. We can get a second boost and powerful boost to help us stop that churning and to bring us to the present and to calm us and have us be alert by simply moving our eyes. Moving our eyes up when our eyes are closed, moving our eyes up and holding that position. Now, this has been known for a long time in the yoga traditions and in the 20th century in hypnosis. And for some reason, it's not fully understood, that when we hold our eyes in that position, the alpha production goes up markedly. Here's a chart of the basic movement, and it's just done in one movement, where we close our eyes and we move our eyes up to that upper position as though we're looking out through our forehead or we're looking at our forehead from within, and we just hold that position. There's nothing heroic about it. There's nothing that should be straining of the eyes about it, and we just hold it for 1 or 2 minutes, and out of that, across that 1 and 2 minutes, we get more and more and more alpha production. And with that, we get more and more calmness with alertness. Okay, I'm going to take what we just covered and I'm going to cast it into the actual steps 1 through 7. When I do this technique, I set a timer on my phone. And I find that 2 minutes is the minimum amount of time that works for me. Feel free to experiment. 1 minute gets me into it a little bit, but I can't really feel that I've shifted. But 2 minutes is good. I imagine 3 and 4 might be even better. but I stick with the 2-minute minimum to really get what I need done. So I suggest the same, but again, feel free to experiment. You could do this in any position, but I think the most popular and the easiest one for me is to be seated. When I'm seated, I know that I'm not gonna, with my eyes closed, don't have to worry about stability or anything. If I lie down, the chances are I just might fall asleep. With any of the work that we do with imagining, especially, we're always up against the temptation is to move over into sleep when we're so relaxed and so deeply in. To avoid that, sitting up certainly helps, and sitting just, straight up helps a lot to keep us alert, keep us so we can remember what happens to us, keep us focused on the various steps. Step 3 is to close your eyes. Again, that gives you your first definite boost of alpha brain waves. Step 4 is moving your eyes into position. So you have your eyes closed, you bring them up, and look up as though you're looking out or looking at your forehead. Now you can angle them up towards the top, almost meeting your scalp, or you can move them down to the middle of your forehead, somewhere between those 2 points. But find one that you can sustain. I would start off with the highest point looking upward as you can comfortably sustain. Okay, and just hold that position. Now there's nothing heroic, there's nothing, you don't need to strain. Your eyes may feel a little bit strained the first or second time you do it, but if you're looking up too high, looking up almost at where the hairline is or beyond where the hairline is above that, and that's too much, bring your eyes down. Gaze down a bit. And if that position is too much, then bring it down a little bit more. Again, there's nothing heroic, there's nothing, there should be no strain about this. The whole purpose of this is calm alertness. So you don't want to put yourself under some sort of endurance test. Adjust your eyes until you find that position that's most comfortable, and you'll finish when your timer goes off. Step 6, I suggest pausing for a moment. So your timer's gone off, keep your eyes closed, and just experience the alpha brainwave experience. See, it can be subtle at times. Other times it can be quite the difference that within 2 minutes time, we've gone from a place that we had a bit of an edge to us, to one that's much calmer. So maybe set for a moment with that before you go on to the next step. At this point, you need to make a decision. Determine if you're settled in enough, if you're calmly alert, or you feel relaxed, or you feel as though you can make the transition from wherever you were before into the place of visualizing or into the place of imagining. And we know for imagining, we need to be pretty far in or receptive to that experience, whichever way you want to look at it. And sometimes we need to add other levels, other steps of relaxation so we can get there. So if you still have an edge, or you still feel as though you're not ready to make the transition to this sort of work, then apply another form of relaxation. It may take up to 3, may take up to 4. Some days it won't even take anything at all. But you'll find some methods of relaxation at armchairdreamer.com. These are not the only ones. I've said somewhere else before that probably any method is appropriate as long as it gets you relaxed enough to be able to step into visualizing, and especially relaxed enough to go into imagining. So if you needed to use more than one, go on to the next one. When you feel ready for visualizing, daydreaming, or imagining work, begin a session. And that's all there is to it. You've got a tool in your tool bag that is powerful, that will take the edge off, will help you settle down and settle in so you can do your imagining or your visualization work. As simple as that, 2 minutes, and you got it. And you're going to find other techniques for adding to your tool bag, and you can find them at YouTube at the Armchair Dreamer. Search for Armchair Dreamer and you'll find the channel. Or I pull everything together plus more material than I have at YouTube over at armchaildreamer.com. That's where you're going to find tips, tools, and techniques that you need for daydreaming, for dream work, for visualization, and for imagining. So let me conclude by saying thank you for being here. This is Gary Goodwin, founder of the Armchair Dreamer, and I'll see you next time.